1.5 is about solving inequalities. The key here is understanding the difference between greater than or equal to and likewise less than or equal to. So what's the difference? Well, greater than, notice the circle around the 4? If you're looking at that, well, what's the difference of greater than equal to? Well, or equal to is the key. Notice the circle is enclosed. So there's your differences between greater than or greater than or equal to. Same thing with less than equal to. Open circle, closed circle. Does it include that number or does it not include that number? So here's an example of one of those things we talked about a couple sections ago about wordage. So what inequality represents the sentence 5 fewer than a number is at least 12. So how do I represent that as an equation? 5 fewer obviously is subtraction than a number, so call the number x, you could be whatever you wanted to. 5 fewer than that number, so minus 5, and it says it's at least 12. Well, if I said you had at least $10 on you, you would have 10 or more, right? So that's going to be greater than or equal to 12. And again, numbers like at least, at most, things like that have a tendency to trip you guys up. So make sure you're paying attention to that stuff and always think about it in terms of money. I don't know why, it always seems to help. This is your properties of inequalities. It's about the same things as your properties of equations and things like that too. You have transitive, addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. There's not much difference here. Again, it comes down to opposite operation. The only difference with inequalities is when you multiply or divide by a negative number, you've got to flip the sign. So we're looking at here, what is the solution of negative 3 times 2x minus 5 plus 1 greater than or equal to 4? And this is the graph of the solution. So let's take a look at this. Again, start with your distribution. You can divide, but I would caution that because of this plus 1 sitting over here. You got to work reverse order operation, so you'd have to get rid of that 1 first if you wanted to divide by negative 3. But that's why I always distribute it. It kind of takes care of it for me. Negative 6x plus 15 plus 1 is greater than or equal to 4. Okay, so combine like terms. Negative 6x, there's no other like terms. 15 plus 1 is 16, is greater than or equal to 4. Subtract 16 from both sides. Get negative 6x is greater than or equal to negative 12. Again, we're going across in this case, inequality sign, but same property, or same difference. Get negative 6, I get x. Now remember, divided by a negative, so I need to go ahead and flip the sign. So greater than or equal to becomes less than or equal to, and negative 12 divided by negative 6 is positive 2. So if I'm going to graph that, draw your number line. Two, and you can mess where you put numbers. It doesn't have to be equal on each side. I don't really care about that. 0, 1, 2, less than or equal to. So that's going to be a closed dot on there. And I'm going to draw the line this way. So dot on closed circle on 2, draw a line to the left. Why? Less than. Problem 3, a movie rental company offers 2 subscription plans. You could pay $36 a month and rent as many movies as desired, or you can pay $15 a month and $1.50 to rent each movie. How many movies must you rent a month for the first plan to cost less than the second plan? So $36 a month, you want it to be less than the cost of the first plan. Less than the cost of the second plan. So this one costs $15 a month and $1.50 to rent. Now, call it M. You would think $15 a month, you should have a variable there, and I understand that, but because we're just dealing with 1 month, we don't really care month to month how that is. All we're looking from is inside of 1 month, so we don't need a variable for that month there. So let's just solve. How do I solve? Well, I'll subtract 15 from both sides. I get 1.5m. And I get, 21? divide by 1.5, and get M. It's got to be greater than 14 movies. So if you don't plan on renting 14 movies, don't pay the $36 for the month. 14 movies in 1 month is a lot. Problem 4, and again, we're back to this always, sometimes, never true. It's basically the same type of thing. Distribute negative 2, 3, get negative 6x minus 2 is greater than negative 6x plus 7. Okay, so how do we solve? Well, add 6x to both sides. Again, that 0 is negative 2 greater than 7. So since negative 2 is greater than 7, the answer here is never true. So when we go ahead and solve this one, again, distribute through. You get 10x minus 15 minus 7x. Is that less than or equal to 3x plus 8? You get 10x minus 7x, which is 3x, minus 15. Is that less than or equal to 3x plus 8? And again, since it's the same variable on both sides, it can cancel. We would subtract 3x, but kind of taking a shortcut here. Is negative 15 less than or equal to 8? Well, yeah, negative 15 is less than or equal to 8, so this answer is always true. What was the solution of 7 less than 2x plus 1 and 3x less than or equal to 18? So we're going to solve these separately. 7 is less than 2x plus 1 and 3x less than or equal to 18. So treat them as two separate equations. This one's easy. Divide by 3. X is less than or equal to 6. This one's also not bad. Subtract 1. 6 less than 2x. Divide by 2. You get 3 is less than 2x. I'm sorry, less than x. Okay, so we have x is greater than 3 and x is less than or equal to 6. So if you really want to write this, when you have an and statement, you should put x in the middle. Less than or equal to 6, greater than 3. How do I graph that? Well, draw your number line. And again, I don't really care where you put this. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Less than or equal to 6, so I'm going to close my circle. It's greater than 3 and is between, so I color between. What about an or? Same principle, 7 plus k greater than or equal to 6, or 8 plus k less than 3. Subtract 7, I get k greater than or equal to negative 1, or subtract 8, k is less than negative 5. So the or makes a big difference, especially when we're graphing this thing. We're just dealing with negative 1 and negative 5, so 0 here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4, negative 5. It's either greater than or equal to negative 1, so again, that's a closed circle, shaded this way now. And I would just shade the arrow in, it's easier. Or k is less than, that should be a 5, negative 5, open circle, shade it that way. And you're done.